This is 1 mana left, and the patch goes live in about 2.5 hours. And I just want to go over some changes they've done to the evasion formula and maybe how that affects my plans for the Amazon I'm going to make. And TLDR, it's a good change. I would say that Amazon actually got pretty heavily buffed. So they've changed the evasion formula to be a little less generous in terms of how much it takes to get each percentage. And they've completely gotten rid of acrobatics. So acrobatics is gone. It used to be 75% less evade can get evade all hits. This is gone. Instead, they are making evasion. They did a last second change to make evasion work on all hits, with the only exception being like red flash boss slams that you are meant to avoid. Now, phase acro did work on that before, but that's the only exception. So now it works on much more hits, much more AoE hits, more arch nemesis abilities. It is an overall better defense. However, it's harder to get the same percentages before. So I have a demonstration here of the old versus the new. This is the red is the old number, and down here is the new number. So for characters that had about let's call it 20k evasion, before they had about 90% evade, and now they have about 75. Even though you can avoid more things now, I think this is probably a nerf at this percentage. So for maybe a hybrid monk or like a Deadeye rocking about 20k evasion, this is probably a nerf. However, my character I had planned with the Queen of the Forest Amazon, which is abusing the node Stalking Panther to get double evasion, and that's multiplicative with my pieces here. And then you don't really care about your evasion on the chest because it's half, but it's Queen of the Forest. Means that my character has 65,000 evasion. Now the thing is, before this is kind of wasted actually. Like I only have evasion from 3 pieces because like my chest gives nothing. I take the chest off, I'm still 95 evade. It doesn't matter. But like I can take off my gloves. I only have evasion from boots, helmet, and gloves. I'm still 95 evade. So I was actually like overqualified on the evasion before. But now it's actually put to better use because my character, if you scooch over to say like 65k evade, which is what my test character had on like 35 div worth of gear, that is 91% on this chart, which I would say 91% but avoids all damage is a significant buff. So maybe 90 to 75 is a nerf, but I would say 95 to 91 but works on all damage is probably quite a defensive buff. And it doesn't lower your evasion rating like phase acrobatics did. So it still works on Queen of the Forest, and it still works on Ghost Shroud. So your raw evasion rating is still very abusable with either of these two mechanics. I will probably use Queen of the Forest for most of the mid game and transition into a pure energy shield chest endgame with Ghost Shroud, so I can recover like 4k ES every time I hit. But this is still a huge buff for Amazon, who is rocking like, the Queen of the Forest type setup and getting like, well over 50k evasion. This character with more min-max could have got maybe 80 or 85, but they're also adding abyss mods. So we saw a Fizzbow that got like a hybrid Fizz roll and like 2 other flat damage rolls. So I think it's fair to assume that we'll be able to add evasion abyss mods on our armor pieces. I would actually be like dumbfounded if that isn't an option. I don't think it'll be very high rolls. It might only be like 20 to 30. But we might be getting more evasion than this with the abyss mods. I think that's a fair bet. So I'm hoping this character is actually rocking about like 75 or 80k and getting like 100% move speed instead of 81. But yeah, that's the plan for this character. I'm not doing like a full build guide right now because we still don't have the passive tree. They have elected to not give it to us. We will not know it until after the patch goes live. There's no data mine on PoE 2DB, so we don't have the Abyss mods. There's a lot of information we still don't have right now. So I'm going to elect to just do like a full build guide in a couple days, maybe like 3, after I know these things. And I still need to test some of the endgame movement stuff because we don't know how the sprint interaction is. I might use Roa or I might not. I might not use Queen and I just use a pure energy shield chest and get move speed boots and then still abuse the cheese here with Ghost Shroud to get like 4k energy shield on hit with a 1.9 second cooldown. That's actually kind of what I'm leaning toward endgame. So there's enough things I still need to play to figure out. So I'll probably do like a full guide on this in like 3 days after I've played it. But I'll just show you the test character one last time if you haven't seen this so far. But yeah, the goal of this character was just to be fast. So Queen of the Forest, if you're used to playing Path of Exile, this is not fast. But if you're used to some very clunky playing in PoE 2, this is actually quite fast, like comparatively. So, yeah, I have a pretty good character. Like I said, I put the character together for 35 div, but then I was donated the +1 arrow runes, and those were 9 div each. So that was 27 div. So really the character value is like 62. But I don't think, after testing, I don't think you need 3. I think you only need 2. Because your choices are either use 3 of the +1 arrow runes with, like a 250 Widow Hail, or use like a 300 Widow Hail and use 2 runes. And I think they're pretty equivalent, so it's just going to come down to like what's the better price, how good's your quiver, stuff like that. So it was pretty hard to get like a 300 Widow Hail. I could only get like a 287. Like 287s were really cheap. They were like 1 div. But there was like nothing better than that online, except for some like complete scam prices looking for like 100 div for like a 295. So with the +1 arrow runes factored in, this ends up being like a 60 div character. But yeah, this is okay. We have some bad backtrack. Where am I? Oh, okay. We got lost once. All right. This is an expected Connor map pathing. I can never do it the first time. But yeah, it's a pretty good clear character. All the testing I've done on it is very fast clear. See, I was actually done with the map, alright? But yeah, you just shoot and off-screen everything, and just run at 81 move speed. And I think on, obviously, like, higher budget, or, like, maybe Abyss Mods next league, that 81 move speed might be, like, you know, 120 or something. We'll see. I still don't know how I'm gonna, like, interact with, like, Sprint or Row or stuff. I also am only level 91, so, like, I could just get, like, more evasion points and get me to like 95% move speed right now. But I don't know. This was just the test character. But that's my plan. Basically use Stalking Panther to cheese Queen of the Forest, or later Ghost Shroud with the pure energy shield chest for tankiness. And then cheese the critical strike node, which is getting nerfed, but it's still like looking better than like the Deadeye crit right now. It's 6.25 for this and only 2.5 for Deadeye now, because it was 10 for Deadeye and it got a 75 nerf in the pre-patch notes. So it's only 2.5 for crit weakness now, where this is still 6.25. And that makes the base crit of Widow Hail only being 5% suddenly playable for like crit scaling. So the rest of those don't really matter that much. It's mainly these two. But that's the plan. I will, like I said, probably do like a fuller, more complete build guide in like 3 days once we actually have passive tree updated, possibly a full list of Abyss mods, and having actually played with the new movement tools like Sprint or buffed Blink or changed Roa, changed mobility, changed inherent like speed skill reduction while running and using a skill. After playing that for a few days, I'll do a full build guide. But that's the plan. Patch goes live in 2 hours and 18 minutes, and I'll see you guys for